The start of the Last Supper. When Philip asked Jesus on that Thursday afternoon where he wished to celebrate the Passover meal, he had Friday evening in mind. For it was customary to celebrate the Passover meal on the evening before the Sabbath. He was surprised when Jesus announced that they would celebrate the meal that very evening, a day earlier than usual. The apostles knew that Jesus had often celebrated the Passover without the lamb on other occasions. They knew that he did not personally participate in the sacrificial rites of the Jewish tradition. He had often eaten the Passover lamb as a guest, but when he was the host, there was no sacrificial lamb on the table. So they were not surprised when they saw that there was no Passover lamb. After being welcomed by the father of John Mark, the apostles went directly to the upper room, while Jesus remained downstairs for a while to talk with John Mark's parents. Jesus had previously arranged to celebrate this festive occasion only with his apostles, so no servants were present. When the apostles arrived upstairs, they saw a large, comfortable room fully prepared for the meal. There was a long table with 13 reclining couches arranged in a U-shape around it, exactly as a wealthy Jewish family would do for the celebration of the Passover. At the right end of this table, where there were no chairs, the bread, wine, water, and herbs were prepared. Next to the door stood the water jars, basins, and towels for cleaning their dusty feet. But there was no servant present to perform this service. As a result, the apostles began to look at each other, wondering, "Who will wash our feet?" They all felt too much self-respect to wash the dirty feet of their brothers. As they fell silent near the water jars, they observed the table arrangement, noting that the couch of the host was higher and that there was one couch to its right. The other 11 were arranged to the left in a U-shaped arc around the table, with the last one directly opposite the right-hand place of honor beside the host. They expected Jesus to join them at any moment, but were uncertain whether they should take their places immediately or wait for his arrival so that he could assign them a seat. As they hesitated, Judas Iscariot went to the place of honor on the left side of the host and indicated that he would lie there as the most important guest. This action by Judas immediately sparked a heated argument among the other apostles. Judas had not yet taken the place of honor when John Zebedee claimed the second place of honor, which was on the right side of the host. Simon Peter was indignant that Judas and John had taken these preferred positions, so he, with the other angry apostles watching, dramatically walked all the way around the table and took the last reclining couch at the end of the arrangement, directly opposite John. Since others had taken the highest places, Peter decided to choose the lowest, and he did this not only as a protest against the unbecoming pride of his brothers, but also in the hope that when Jesus arrived and saw him in the most humble place, he would ask him to move to a higher place, thereby removing someone who had presumptuously honored themselves. Now that the highest and lowest places had been taken, the remaining apostles also chose a place. They sat on these reclining couches around the U-shaped table in this order. To the right of Jesus, John. To the left, Judas, Simon Zelotes, Matthew, James, Andrew, the twin sons of Alphaeus, Philip, Nathanael, Thomas, and Simon Peter. This meal would be their last gathering with Jesus, and even now their egos were at play, and they were concerned with honor, precedence, and personal elevation. They were still angrily reproaching one another when Jesus appeared in the doorway, where he paused for a moment, a look of disappointment on his face. Without saying a word, he went to his place and made no changes to their seating arrangement. They were now ready to begin the meal, except that their feet had not yet been washed, and the atmosphere was far from pleasant. When Jesus had taken his place, there was silence for a few moments. Then Jesus looked at them, and, breaking the tension with a smile, said, "I have greatly desired to eat this meal with you. I wanted to eat with you one last time, for the hour of my suffering has come, but I have arranged for us to celebrate the Passover together once more tonight. As for tomorrow, we are all in the hands of our Heavenly Father, and I have come to do His will." Jesus took a cup, filled it with wine, and held it as he offered thanks. Then he said, "Take this cup, drink from it, all of you, and understand that when you drink from it, I will not drink again from the fruit of the vine with you, for this is our last meal together. When we meet again, it will be in the kingdom to come." Jesus' work on earth was almost finished. He had revealed the loving heart of the Father to humanity, and he knew that he had completed everything he had come to the world to do. Once freed from his body, he would soon receive all authority in heaven and on earth. Jesus knew that Judas Iscariot was determined to betray him that night into the hands of his enemies. He was fully aware that this treacherous betrayal was Judas's doing, but that Lucifer, Satan, and the Prince of Darkness also took pleasure in it. However, he feared none of those who sought to bring about his physical death. He was concerned only with one thing, the safety of his chosen apostles. Therefore, the Master now prepared himself, fully aware that the Father had placed all things under his authority, to provide an example of brotherly love.